All right, here we go. Teaching a Rockstar podcast. Beth Fuller. Man, this lady is unbelievable. She's got like every accolade known to teaching. I'm going to give her a call. We're going to see what she's all about. Beth Fuller, Kentucky. Man, that's a beautiful state. If you haven't been to Kentucky, man, you got to go check it out. It's unreal. All right, Beth Fuller. Oh, that looks like Beth Fuller. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. So now I hear in Kentucky, you guys got some weather going on. Is that true?
Yeah, a bunch of snow. Well, really, it's nothing yet. It just looks like rain, but it's supposed to turn over to snow tonight.
Well, I'm here to tell you, here in Houston, Texas, that snow thing, that's like a natural disaster. I mean, if it snows, you would think aliens are coming. You know, it's
like that here too. They canceled my meeting tonight, and it's not even supposed to be bad till 9 or 10. So
yeah, in fact, I think one of the very first times we came to Kentucky, there was like this big ice storm, and we ended up having to cancel. And then I think you guys missed. This is maybe like 2 or 3 years ago. You guys missed, weeks of school, or some of them did, because the power was out and all that stuff. And it was hard to make up an event like that, because to get teachers to come back, they've missed so much. Administrators wouldn't let them off again. And but I'll tell you what, we go to Louisville all the time, and man, it's one of my favorite states. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I love it here.
Yeah, and of course every time I go, my son asks me if I saw the what's that guy's name, the Turtle Man.
Oh.
Like that's all he cares about. I'll tell him, man, we had a great show. There's 100 teachers there. It was awesome. He said, yeah, did you see Turtle Man? He's 7, so his whole world's about the Turtle Man. All right, so you've done a lot of stuff, man. Since you won these big awards, you've been on TV and you've done interviews and you're on committees. You've got so much going on. Have you ever done the podcast before?
No. Well, I did one with a huge group. There was 70 teachers from across the state. Mm-hmm. And so everybody was just a little teeny tiny box at the top. And you had to fight to talk. And so that was a lot different than this.
Yeah, this one is just me and you. And if you haven't checked it, I tell you what, when I started this thing just maybe a couple of months ago, it was, I never would have guessed that we would have thousands of teachers downloading these things and listening to them. But, I think there's something about when people are just having just natural conversation about what we love to do with kids and teaching, and people tune in and listen on the way to work. And so it's been great. I'm glad you're going to be a part of it.
Great. Well, thanks for asking me to do this. This is neat.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. All right. So if you haven't heard what we do is, you have so many accolades and just achieved so much in your short time, in your decade of teaching, and we'll definitely talk about that. But what I really hope we can touch on is all that kind of led up to that, your experience in school and what school was like for you, and was there support from your family, and was going to college expected of you, or is that something you had to be driven to do, or and then of course your experiences coming out first year teacher, and that that kind of learning curve, and then all those administrators that Dr. Hensley and all those folks that played a role in your development as an educator, and then we'll wrap it up at the end. Sound good?
Sounds great.
All right, let's do this thing. I'm going to play some intro music, and we are going to get started. Teaching a Rockstar podcast. We have Beth Fuller in the house. Jefferson County Schools, Kentucky, one of my favorite states. And I'll tell you what, for somebody who's been teaching just a decade, we have an amazing amount of accolades and achievements. Everything from Department of Education Teacher Advisory Committee, a graduate professor, adjunct graduate professor at the University of Louisville, National Board Certified Teacher, Louisville Writing Project Co-Director, Award for Rough Readers, Green Institute for Innovation, Creativity, and Entrepreneurship, and the list goes on. And of course, my favorite, the 2012 Kentucky Elementary Teacher of the year. Wow. I mean, you talk about teaching celebrity. It doesn't get much bigger than that. So we appreciate you being on the show today. And Beth Fuller, let's get right into it. So you are currently still at the Atkinson Academy for Excellence in Teaching and Learning. Is that true?
Yes.
Yes. And I tell you what, I did see a YouTube video on, I think is when Dr. Hensley did it before he moved on, and it was great. I mean, I wanted to go to school there. I wish I was in the third grade to show up at that place. And so, first of all, talk to us about that place where you work, because it seems like it's a special kind of school.
It is. It's a really amazing place, and everybody who works there, we just really put kids first and have a dream of all of our kids going to college, and we're a no excuses type of environment. So even though all of our kids come from extreme poverty, we don't treat them any different. We have very high expectations for them, and we provide them with everything they need to be successful in life. So it is a really special place, and it's full of wonderful people who work there. Yeah,
I could tell, just watching the video, and like I said, we'll play it on the podcast. I'll edit it in later, and it was one of those places where you can just kind of, every school has a vibe, and I always say that. As soon as you walk in the front doors of the school, and now that you're kind of making the rounds, going from school to school, and you can tell, that feeling you get right when you walk in, and what you can see on that video that school where, this Academy for Excellence, I love how you added that to the name, that you can just tell by the expression on the teachers that they sincerely love their kids, and they love that school, and they love being there. They love their job. And so was that the campus that you started at, or did you start somewhere else?
I did start there. The school was a little bit different when I started. We were the lowest performing school in our state when I first started there, and it was a little bit of a different environment, still the same type of attitude among the teachers, and everybody loved it and wanted to be there, but it's definitely changed a lot, and we've risen to a much higher level and expected much more from when I first started there.
If you could put your finger on like one of those ingredients for change, because I know, change, there's always this recipe for it with multiple ingredients, but what would you say are maybe one or two of the big ingredients that you saw when, because you were there, you said you showed up and it was a different kind of performance going on compared to where it is now?
I think it's of many, many things that go into that, like you said, but I think one thing is the expectations. The expectations for the staff, and then the students, like they will rise to what you expect of them. And so we've just come to find that to be very true.
Yeah, was that something that changed with an administrator coming in that was different, or was that just something that the staff kind of rallied around and got the whole thing going?
I think a combination of both. We did have a really strong administrator come in, but we had a really strong administrator there when I started too. So it's just kind of a combination of different things, and then getting the right staff in there, the people who want to be there and want to work with those kids.
Sure.
Because it's not the kind of place where people didn't used to be knocking on the doors begging to work there. And that's changed in the last couple of years. But when I first started, I wanted to be there. I did some of my undergrad work there, and people thought I was crazy. Whereas now I think people are fighting to get in there to work there.
Yeah. What's interesting is I worked at a school that went the other way. So we started out as this typical upper middle class school. Everybody's parents went to college. All the kids were just expected to go to college. And then what happened was, that we had a kind of a new population and a change in leadership, and everything changed, and it became a really, really tough place to teach for. And what I realized that a lot of those teachers that we had just didn't fit in anymore, because these weren't their kids anymore. And it's not, and at the time, looking back, I really thought that they were just bad teachers, But now, the truth is, now I think about it, those were just the wrong kids for that teacher. Like, I'm sure they could be a great teacher at another school, but for those kids in that school, that was just a bad match. And and of course, they teachers move on and find somewhere else to work. And so I think what you're saying is that in your school, that what you found was those teachers that it's one of those places where you got to love those kids if you're going to teach there.
Yes, definitely.
Well, good. And so how many years have you been at that school?
10 years.
So,
this is my 10th year.
So. All right. So you have a decade into this thing. And let me ask you this: Are you a lifer? Do you think you found it? I mean, think education is your thing forever?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. Yeah. I feel like I was born to do this. Yeah. I love it. Yeah. I wake up every day. I'm excited to go to work. I love my job.
And currently, and so you started out, I believe I read, you were a third grade teacher, kind of a traditional setting, and now you're doing some different things.
Yes. Now I'm a demonstration site teacher. So my classroom is open for other teachers to come watch me teach and administrators to watch me teach. And then I work with the most struggling students in the third grade. So the kids who aren't on grade level and who are struggling in a typical classroom setting. Yeah.
Okay, so there is some just kind of observational, professional development going on that you kind of let other educators come in, kind of see what you're doing. They can learn from you and go back.
Yes, yes.
How does that work out? Do teachers feel? I mean, I'm sure you make it a very open environment in which that they can come visit. But do you find that most teachers are interested in coming to visit and see what's going on and maybe learn some new things?
I think so. It just depends, but usually yes. And, I feel like the model was kind of formed in the sense that if I can do it with the most struggling kids, then anybody can do it in their classroom too. And so kind of having that positive attitude of, you can try out something that I've tried out and see if it works too. And we've had a lot of other schools come in to watch us as well. So other schools have come in and then duplicated the things that I'm doing in my classroom too.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think, it's interesting because not every school believes in that concept of taking those most struggling kids and put them, with a great teacher. A lot of them kind of spread them out. Where they don't, they don't want to keep them all in one room together. They kind of want to dilute the population a little bit,
right.
and share them among all the teachers. But you find that it works for you in your school with all the administrators and the other teachers that you have in place.
Right. It really does work. And my former principal, Dewey Hensley, it was his model. He kind of created it and came up with the concept. And he thought, I've got to put my strongest teachers with my weakest students and the ones who need help the most. Yeah. So there's also some other demonstration site teachers in my school as well at different grade levels.
Now, how long was he there?
5 years.
Yeah. And would you say that you learned a lot from him being there as a part of the team?
Oh, yes, definitely. Yes. He's made me into the teacher that I am today, for sure.
I saw something that he was talking about, and I can't remember the quote exactly, and it was he's at the Department of Education, right? And now?
He was at the Department of Education last year, and he's come back to our district, and he's our chief academic officer for all of Jefferson County.
Oh, okay.
Right now. So he's right under the superintendent.
There, he's got the office next door, huh? I saw what he was talking about. It was an interview he did, and it was on YouTube. And I believe the concept was, I don't have like it real clear in my head, but he was talking about how, traditionally with kids, they have to have all this achievement for them to have this sense of a belonging in the school where, you've got to win some award and then you get the trophy, or you have to get an A+ and then you get your work on the wall, or you have to have a great piece of art in the art room and then it gets displayed in the front office, and then, but he was talking about where he believes in this, that, it's backwards, psychologically and also emotionally for kids where, first there has to be that sense of belonging and then that's going to result in the achievement.
Right. And that's a philosophy he instilled in all of us and in our entire school. Like one thing we did was we took all the kids' pictures and hung them outside of our classroom and do that right away from the very beginning and then establish that sense of belonging in the whole school, but also within our classrooms. And that philosophy transferred over to all of us as well.
Yeah, he's a guy that you can tell that obviously gets it. It seems to be, there's some administrators that that I have met that, I don't know their teaching background or where they started, but it just, maybe after years they've possibly have lost touch, with education and what really happens in classroom with kids. But that dude, he gets it. He's still in touch. He still believes in the kids. And, I saw him on the video with his microphone and, leading that. Do you guys have like a pledge, the school pledge? That thing is beautiful.
Yes, yes. We do that every day.
I know it's good. I mean, I'm glad to hear he's back in the district. You know, every time I hear like somebody moves to the state level, I think, oh man. I mean, it's great that for the career, but I always think about kids and teachers that it's kind of. I mean, it's a loss. You know.
Right, right. Yeah, he is the real deal. And he grew up in poverty himself, and it was teachers that changed his life. And so he's truly passionate about the art of education and really believes in teachers too.
That's true. You know, it is the art of education. I love that you say that, because at that administrative level, I mean, a lot of times it becomes a business. But I mean, to really get it, you have to remember that this thing. I mean, there's a whole lot of art to what we do to change the lives of kids. All right, so let's talk about you. So you were you one of those growing up that knew you wanted to be a teacher? I mean, were you playing school in the bedroom with your friends and leading classes?
Yes. My poor sisters, I used to make them play school every summer when we didn't have school. And yes, I always wanted to be a teacher. My mom was a teacher. She taught preschool when I was younger. Mm-hmm. And so she would give me her lesson plan books and teacher books and stuff that she had, and I just loved that. So yes, I've always wanted to be a teacher. And
so in elementary school, you knew it, and then you went to middle school, and then junior high, and then high school. So were you pretty successful academically going through?
Yes, I didn't always have the best teachers. I had a terrible fifth grade teacher, and I still think about her often because I don't ever want anybody to feel the way she made me feel about school. I hated fifth grade. But I always was very successful in school because of my parents. A lot of it was there supporting me no matter what type of teachers I had. And then I went to a really great high school and had some really great high school teachers and things too. Mm-hmm. But I always loved school. I enjoyed school, except for that one year.
Right. And so in fifth grade, I think it's so interesting, and it's not only interesting, but I think it's often sad that we as educators, typically, if you're a teacher, you had some great teachers along the way. But also, we have all had teachers that just weren't the best. And it's interesting how, here you are, and now you're in your early 30s, I would think. And you can think back to, I mean, we're talking more than 20 years ago. Yeah. And you can still clearly remember that teacher.
Right. I can remember things she said to me and how I felt and where I sat when things happened. And so, yeah, it's amazing the impact that a teacher has, positive and negative.
Yeah, that's what we always say. I mean, if you're teaching, you are going to have a monumental impact on the life of the kid. The only question is it positive or negative? It's going to be one way or the other. It's going to be monumental, but it's up to us to figure out which one we want that to be. And so you can still remember how you felt in that classroom. And I bet that you have, because of where you teach, I've bet that you have some kids come into your school that transfer in that have had an experience like that, and now they have you as a teacher, and it's your job to turn them around.
Right, that's the goal.
Yeah, right. And so, and it seems like that's kind of your calling. I mean, that's what you relish in love, is the challenge of those kids.
Right. I do.
Yeah. And so, all right, so you went to high school, and you're doing your thing, and so I'm going to assume that in your family, going to college was just expected. That's just what you do.
Yes, yes.
Right, and
it wasn't are you going to go to college? It's where do you want to go?
Where are you going to go? Exactly. Yeah. And so you had your parents there, and they would go to they participated in your education in high school, and you were involved in activities, I'm sure, at school. What was your thing?
I was in show choir in high school, and that was my passion, and that was the most fabulous teacher I ever had in my life too. Was him, because I had him for 4 years, and that was my big thing in high school.
Yeah, and that's a big deal out there. I know Kentucky, and then up through Indiana and those states, they have these amazing show choir. I mean, it's like right out of Glee, man. It's these unbelievable performances. I know,
that was me in high school.
Yeah, right. And so And so you, your parents wanted you to go to school, and or expected you. It was just part of being a member of the family. You go to college. That's what we do in this family. But that's not what's going on with your kids at your school.
No, definitely not.
They don't have that kind of parent support.
Right. And sometimes I think the parents do want that for their kids, but they didn't have it for themselves, or they don't even know. I mean, our kids don't even know what college is, or if they go, they're going to be the first one to go in their family. And so it's a difference, it's changing that culture and making them realize that that is your option. You will go to college too.
Right, and so like you guys immerse them in this belief, and once they're immersed in that belief, throughout that elementary years, that becomes part of who they are. I go to college. That's what I do.
Yes, yes. So that they know it from early on. Like even our kindergartners, they know what year they're going to start college.
That's amazing. I met an administrator one time, and he was a high school administrator in a small town here in Texas, and what he would do with his incoming freshmen, he would go to their house, and he would take these two picture frames, and they're both empty, just nothing in them, and he would take his hammer and his nail, and he would go and walk right into the house, meet the parents. It was a smaller school. I think he had about 100 incoming freshmen every year, and he'd meet all of them in the summer, and he'd go right in there, and he would hang these two frames right on the living room wall, whether it was their house or trailer, apartment, whatever they had. And he said, this one here is for your high school diploma. That one there is for your college diploma. Don't take them down.
That's great.
I know. I mean, you talk about it every day. You have to look at that thing,
Yeah.
Living up to expectations, baby. There it is. And so what you guys do is you have a partnership with your school, with the University of Louisville, and kind of give me like a little overview of that. How does that work?
Well, we have college classes that are taught on site. So there's a college classroom at Atkinson. So our kids see the college students every day as just they're a part of our school too. And then we do a lot of projects with the college students in our class. Like I might have an entire college class come in, partner up with my kids, and they'll work on a writing piece together. Like last year, we were doing research articles together, and so they would come in every day and work with my kids. And then sometimes my kids will go to the college class. So if the professor's teaching something like how to teach a certain reading lesson, she'll use my kids, and they'll come in, and everybody will watch how she would teach a group of kids. So our kids are constantly a part of the college life too. And then we take our fifth graders every year to the college campus, and they get a tour and get to eat on campus and see what it's like to be on campus too. And then we just have the president is really Dr. Ramsey. He's really good to our school. He comes in, our kids know him as the college president. And there's a lot of involvement from the people from U of L, and they do a lot for our entire community and school.
Yeah. Now, has that always been like that, or is that something that's in the last recent few years?
That's in the last recent few years. That's one of the things that Dr. Hensley started too, was that partnership with the University of Louisville. And they do a lot for our teachers too. Like they help. I have my national board certification, which you mentioned earlier, and they helped pay for me to be able to do that. So they paid for teachers to do that, and in turn, we have to promise to stay at Atkinson for a certain number of years afterwards, which I would have done anyway.
Yeah.
It was a nice little incentive because that cost a lot for teachers to have to pay for that themselves.
Yeah, and I think even on the front page of the Atkinson website, they have there's kids wearing shirts right there. Think, and what does it say? Think something
Think
college
now.
Yeah, think college now, right now. Uh-huh. Immersed in it. I love that. And then, all right. So you graduate from high school, and you're expected to go to college, and you do. And did you ever change your major, or were you education all the way through?
No, I actually did not start in education. I started in communications because I thought I always wanted a big family. Uh-huh. And I always thought I'll never make enough money in education to have a big family. And then I started working at a preschool while I was in my first year at Bellarmine and realized I have to do this. This is what I love. Yeah. And so I switched like pretty early into my first semester. Yeah. I switched to education.
Communications. Ugh.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I wanted to be on TV or something. I don't know what I thought I'd do with that.
You're doing it right now. You made it. All right. So you're going to college, and then it's time now in Kentucky. Do you guys have the traditional last semester student teaching type thing?
Yes. Well, we did it our first semester of senior year. So I did a semester of student teaching, and then I had to finish out the last semester at school before I taught.
And then
so that we start the school year with the kids.
Oh, I get it. And then when you started student teaching, did that reaffirm what you wanted to do, or were you thinking, oh my goodness, I might have made a major mistake in my decision here for this major?
No, I remember thinking, I can't believe I'm going to get paid to do this, because I loved it so much. In student teaching, you do work for free.
Right, yeah.
You're actually paying them because you're paying to go to school and you're not getting paid. And I just remember thinking, I can't believe I'm one day going to get paid to do this, because I loved it. I loved it. Everything about it.
And so did you have a good teacher, supervising teacher at the school?
Yes, I had two really great ones. I was at Chenoweth Elementary, which is in JCPS, and they were both fabulous. I'm still certified in special ed, so I had to do half my time in a special ed classroom, and then the other half was in a kindergarten classroom, and I had really great experiences with them. They taught me a lot.
Yeah. I just remember thinking, when I student taught, I just remember thinking, oh my, I was just overwhelmed. I just had no idea how to pull this thing off, and I was when I first started, I was a band director, and I went and taught at a school, and these two band directors, they just threw me in there. There's no let's do it, man. And I think that's the best way to do it. You have to get up in front of the kids and you have to teach and figure it out for yourself. Cause it's different for everybody. Everybody has their own little style and where they're going to run this, their classroom and their classroom leadership style. And it seems to me though, coming out, I feel like you're probably maybe, had more of a natural gift, like a natural fit for the classroom than some teachers. Did you feel that way? Like it just kind of felt natural and normal, and like this is where you belong?
Yeah, it did. Not that everything was perfect, but I did feel that way. I think it's just because I loved it so much, and I did feel that way. Like really blessed. Like this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is where I'm supposed to be. Yeah. So I did definitely feel that way. And one of the biggest struggles for me was, I'm like, this is my whole life, because you know how much time you spent outside of the school day working on school stuff. But I was totally okay with that because I love it. So. Yeah,
it is all. That's what it is. It's a lifestyle. You think you're signing up for a job.
Right.
That's what they tell you. But really, you're signing up for a lifestyle. That's what you're doing. And so, one thing, but before we get too far in, you mentioned your show choir teacher, and you said best ever. Talk to me about that. Who was that?
His name was Larry Pittman. He passed away a few years ago, but he was a wonderful teacher. Like I was excited to go to school to go to his class. He was just one of those people that inspired you and made you feel, he built confidence in everybody and he made learning fun. Cause I liked to sing, but I was never like wanting to major in music or anything like that. And I loved to learn music from him and just the things that I learned from him. And I think it was just this whole classroom atmosphere. We were a family. He treated us that way. And so a lot of the things that Dr. Hensley believes, like first you have to belong, then you can learn, then you can grow, and that's how he made us feel from the very first day.
Yeah. We had a guy on a couple of weeks ago. His name's Eric Jarvis, and he is the president of the Texas chapter of the Recording Academy, which is they give out the what do they call it? Academy Awards, and anyway he. Not the Grammys. That's what I'm going to say. The music awards. And he talked about when he was in high school, and he said like he could totally remember standing there in choir, and he could remember like where the stands kind of creaked when you moved a certain way, like the smell of the room, and like everything about it. It's just amazing how you can go back, like we said, a couple of decades and pick out all those little details. That's all about the emotion of that moment, and really that's what learning's about. Creating these memorable moments.
Right.
And that's great. So Mr. Pittman was it for you?
Yes, he was it for me. Yeah. I always said I wanted to make people feel the way he made me feel in class.
Yeah, I believe it, man. Like we say, those kids aren't always going to remember what you tell them, but they'll remember how how you made them feel.
It's true. That's true.
And whether it's Mr. Pittman or your fifth grade teacher, it's true.
Right.
All right, so talk to us about, you have all kinds of stuff going on now. Now tell me about the big award. Now, how does somebody even win this? I'm telling you, I've never won anything even close. I don't even know how anybody would even win this thing. So how does it work? Because there's a process. Maybe it starts at like a campus level, or kind of take me through this. The 2012 Kentucky Elementary School Teacher of the Year. How does that thing work?
Well, I was nominated by Dr. Hensley, and another colleague nominated me too that I was friends with. So they nominated me, and then I got a thing saying you've been nominated, and I had to fill out some essays and basically like a resume of things that I do related to education. And so I just kind of sent that in, not really thinking I had much of a shot. And then so then I got a letter, you're in the top 24, and everybody won an Ashland Award who made the top 24, like just based on the resume and essays and things.
And what is that? Tell me the Ashland Award. What is that? That's
just like
a
the
corporation
Ashland Oil
or?
Company.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, they just give out, it's the Ashland Teaching Award here in Kentucky, and they give out 24 a year. Mm-hmm. And so when you're nominated for Teacher of the Year, you go into that nomination. So they're the ones that give out the awards to like the top 24. And then, so I received that, and then I received a letter saying you're in the top 9. And
so at the top, this is like American Idol, man. So at the top 24. So
and then it was top secret. Don't tell anybody you're in the top 9.
Really?
You don't want the top 24 to know. Yeah. But of course, I'm calling my mom and dad and other people I know. And then they came to my classroom and watched me teach and interviewed me and some of my colleagues and my principal at the time, which was my new principal. So they did all those interviews and observed me, and then they had an award ceremony, and we didn't know at that point if I had won or not. It was just everybody in the top 24 got the award, and then they just announced that I had won for elementary. So
that's huge excitement. So at this whole, so you were honored, obviously, to be, asked to, nominated and fill out the essay, probably, putting it off. If you're like me, I'll think, oh my gosh, you're right. Fine, I'll do it. And then
I even got an email saying, don't forget, you should send that in from the person in charge like a few days before. So I made sure I sent it in.
Right.
I sent it in.
And then
now I did.
Yeah, and so you sent that thing in, and so when you get the announcement for the top 24, that's got to be, you could be thinking, what were you surprised? Were you thinking, you got to be kidding me? What?
Yeah, I was really surprised, and it came in the mail. My husband's like, I think you need to see this, because it had the return address or whatever on the envelope. I'm like, what? And so I was really surprised. Yeah, really surprised.
And then, and so you get the top 9, and this is a hush hush thing, just like American Idol. They send you home, and you can't tell your friends or family, but you do anyway. And then, now when you say they come to your room, because this is interesting. I know some other states. I've talked to some Teacher of the Year where they there's no practical analysis of what goes on in the classroom. It's kind of this all essay and referral and references based things, but they actually come watch you teach.
Yes. They came and watched me for, I think it was an hour and a half or 2 hours one day, and just like watched me in my normal classroom. And then they stayed after school to sit and talk with me for another hour. And then they also interviewed some other people within my building. Like, I think they just went to random people, so it wasn't just like my friends or they asked like a few random people things about me. And
not just your lunch bunch, huh? They went, talk to everybody.
I didn't get to give them a list of names.
And so did you know which day they're coming?
I did know when they were coming, because I had to turn in lesson plans.
What a pressure!
Like being observed by, when you're observed by your principal. So,
but this is like crazy, though. I would be because I know I can teach, and I'm sure you do too. Like, you can teach, but still, when somebody's watching, you still feel
it's always a little different when somebody's watching.
Because you're talking to yourself. You're talking to yourself in your head. Did I just pronounce that? I think I mispronounced that. Oh my God! But so they're watching you, and how many people are there in the room?
There were 5 or 6. I don't remember exactly. They filled up my whole. I have a guided reading table in the back where typically 6 kids sit and I sit, and they filled all of that up. So I think there was 6 maybe.
And they'll come walking in, sitting in those tiny little chairs, and
and they're all dressed up in suits. And my kids are used to people coming in the classroom because I'm a demonstration site room. People are always in there, but I had told the kids what they were coming for.
Right.
So
Man,
I think they were a little on top of their game too.
yeah, that's a good thing. Because I've never been the demonstration teacher, man. If they all at 5 or 6, and my kids would have thought it was the FBI or something coming in. Somebody's going downtown. All right, so and so you do your thing, and tell me your feeling like at the end of all that, like you're driving home from work. Did you think, man, I think it went pretty well?
I don't remember what I thought. Yeah. But I know that they said, because I have like little picture frames on the desk with the kids' pictures and like flowers at their seat, fake flowers. And all my kids sit on exercise balls. And there's just some things that like make my classroom different. And they had asked me if I did that just for show that day. I'm like, no, I promise those are always there. Like those have been there since the first day of school. And so then I remember thinking, I wonder if they thought I was just doing stuff for show, that I really wasn't. Like I tried to just make it, this is a normal day. This is what I normally do at this time. So this is what you're going to see.
These aren't even my kids. I don't even know who these kids are.
I paid them.
These are all actors. We brought them in from around the state.
So then I wonder if they thought that was not legit. It was. So.
Yeah. And I did notice that. I did see that on the video. So that's your classroom. I did see the classroom where the kids are sitting on exercise balls.
Yes. That's my classroom.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is a cool thing. And so, for I'm not sure, especially, with third graders. That's like an ultimate test of classroom management. Like
and patience.
Yeah. And so, but when on the video, these kids are engaged and working and raising hands and participating and doing their slant thing and leaning forward but so like you would think they'd be bouncing around all over the room, but these kids are involved and learning.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's amazing. You're the real deal. All right, so so you now tell me about so you win this award, and the announcement is made, and so what's the first thing you do? You call your mom? What do you do?
Well, she was there, and I could hear her because she was there, and my principal was there, and my husband and my mother-in-law, and I could hear my mom in like the back of the room crying. Like I just heard these little sobs. And so I knew it was her. Yeah. It was her, my mother-in-law. Because they started with a bio, like they said, our elementary teacher of the year. And then they started saying things like she went to Bellarmine and she went to IUS and she's been at Atkinson. And so then I guess it was like building up. They knew it was me. And so it was, it was exciting.
And Mama's back there crying just like at show choir or concerts. Right. And so, hey, let me ask, is your husband in education as well?
No, he's in law enforcement.
Oh, okay. Man, you got family of public service going on in that house.
Right.
Right on. And so, okay, so you win this thing, and then immediately the phone starts ringing. And because I think I like the news has to do the story, and they have to do the press release, and you're on, Wake Up Kentucky or whatever it is. And so how was all that? Was it fun for you?
It was fun, but it was kind of like, it was just different, kind of unexpected, and it all happened so fast. And it was weird, but it was fun. It was exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. And all right, so let's get back to and since then you have had the opportunity to do some other things, and you're sitting on a committee now. Tell me about that.
Which one? The teacher advisory committee?
Yes.
Yes. No, like our commissioner, Dr. Holliday in Kentucky, he really does listen to teachers' voices, and he's very passionate about teachers and what they have to say, and really takes into account what we have to say. So there's a committee of teachers across the state, and we meet a couple of times a year, and that's the podcast I just had a few weeks ago that I was telling you about. So sometimes we do it via podcast style, and then sometimes we all meet together in Frankfurt a couple times a year too. So it's just a way to we can bring concerns that we have or questions we have or anything about education or things we're noticing in our district and in our school, and then he also will have certain topics or concerns he has and things we can discuss, and it's just a way for teachers to have a voice, and that voice truly is heard.
Yeah, I love that. And that's the other thing I read on the website is how I guess that trickles down not just from the state level, from the top levels of education all the way down to to your school, where it talked about how students in your school are have governmental positions in the school. We're talking about elementary school, and they're president of the class, and it says they're included on decisions that are being made in the school. And how fantastic is that? Really feeling like they have some sense of of ownership, just like you do now as an educator in terms of what happens with the state.
Right.
Yeah. All right. And so now tell me about being the adjunct graduate professor. How's that going for you?
Oh, it's great. I love it. I love teaching kids
Right.
more than teaching adults. But it's been a really good experience, and I feel like it's a way for me to network and learn from other teachers as well. So through our partnership with U of L, the Dean of Education asked me last year if I would be interested in teaching a course in the summer. And I'm teaching like during the school year too as well. But I'm teaching a course on children's literature, which I feel like is my specialty. It's what I'm dealing with and working with every day. So it's good for the university too, I think, to have someone who's really still in the classroom teaching a class too. Because it's real, like a lot of the feedback I got from teachers was they appreciated having someone that's on the same level as them to learn from too. So it's been a really great experience. It's just one class, so it's just part-time and something extra to do on the side.
Like that's something you need, something extra to do, right? And I tell you what, man, I think for me in the universities with which I've worked is I can see there's definitely been a change. I can remember, I went to college way before you did. And, but I can remember like my professors, they would show up and they'd have the bow tie and like they haven't seen the inside of a classroom in 30 years and they have really no idea what's going on. But, now, the universities with which I've worked recently, these professors are, if they're not still teaching, they're in public schools on a regular basis and taking their kids to schools and, like you said, having class in schools and the whole thing I think is just there's been a change for sure. And all right, so talk to me about the Institute for Innovation and Creativity and Entrepreneurship.
Well, I have a reading dog program in my classroom. So I have dogs. They come from Paws with Purpose, a local organization that trains therapy and assistance dogs for people with disabilities. So I partner with this organization, and they bring their dogs into my classroom. So I have one in my classroom just today. But they come. I have several different dogs and trainers who come in, and my kids read to them. So my kids each have their own reading dog, and that serves as their non-judgmental reading partner. So my kids will work to read with this dog, and they do everything for their dog. Like they share tests with their dog. I can get them to do anything if it's for their dog. So it's a big motivational thing, and then it helps them with their reading skills too. So I started this program, and we called it the Rough Readers, and so I won an award just solely for that program that I had started.
Wait a minute. So you have you have kids on beach balls, flowers around the desk, and now you have dogs coming into the classroom. And so these kids have reading dogs all right, hold on now. So you're telling me like there's this Labrador that comes in and sits down with, Pedro, and Pedro is going to read the Labrador.
Yes, and it's so great because the dogs they're in training or they've already passed training. And so it helps them get out in public too. It's good for the dogs too. But the dogs are trained to sit for long periods of time. They don't bark, they don't bite.
Right.
And so they can sit and lay on the floor for a long, long time, and my kids think that they're listening to them read.
Sure.
And my kids read to their dog.
How awesome is that? And so, and you said that this is, it has to be like a huge motivational tool. So these kids are working all week knowing that I got to get this done. So, because my dog's coming.
Right. And they want to be better for their dog too.
Yeah.
Like everything's about the dog, and they want to be better for their dog and show their dog when they have done better and read better for the dog. So my whole classroom, everything is dog, everything. Dog bones, dog paw prints, everything's dogs.
I love it. And so so you said each kid has their own is an assigned a dog. So typically you have a bunch of different dogs coming in.
And some of the kids share dogs. Like one dog will come in and then they take their turns reading with that dog. So some kids have to share dogs. I'm working on getting more dogs. Like ideally, I'd love every kid to have their very own dog and not have to share. But right now they have to share, even though they get their own time with the dog.
Right, yeah.
They just maybe share the dog.
And how often would you have a dog coming into the classroom?
once or twice a week, because they all come on different schedules. So once or twice a week there's a dog. So there's a lot of there's always dogs coming in and out of our classroom, and the kids just know, oh, there's so-and-so's dog, it's your turn. And like, they just know. We do a whole presentation at the beginning of the year, like how to act around the dogs. You don't run over and you don't pet them. So it's just normal for dogs to be in the classroom.
So at this point in the year, in March, like when the dog shows up, like the whole class doesn't melt down and go, "Oh, doggy's here." No, it's just
they're just really normal about it. It's kind of like it's normal to them. So nobody really does anything. The kid whose dog it is goes and gets it and takes it to the reading area, and everyone else just continues about whatever we're doing.
Yeah. So this is a great place for these kids. I'm just thinking about these college kids there. They're going to be teachers and seeing all this. And you know what? Maybe, of course, it's one of those things that maybe you don't take everything away and use everything that you're doing. But man, just to have so many different options, like now in their little tool bag, they're going to take away from college what maybe they might be able to do. Whether it's dogs or flowers or balls or bones or themes or whatever, you know what I mean? It's just it's definitely not the typical classroom. That's beautiful. I love it.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, and so tell me, because you've accomplished so much, and kind of tell me what's on your horizon now, because I mean, after somebody wins these big awards, and you have these grants, you're sitting on these committees, you're teaching college, and you have all this going on. What are you excited for next?
I don't know. I don't know. I just want to continue what I'm doing and help as many kids as I can and try to affect as many kids' lives as I can in a positive way. So really, I'm happy with what I'm doing. I love being in the classroom. And a lot of people asked me last year if I was going to leave the classroom or if I was going to do such and such after I won. And no, like I want to teach and I want to be with kids. And so right now I'm just happy doing what I'm doing.
I love it. And so do you have any, you feel any like tinglings in your soul for, administration or the central office or anything like that?
No, no.
Not so much, huh?
Maybe one day, but right now, no, not at all.
Yeah.
I love what I'm doing. I feel like you have the biggest impact when you're in there with the kids in the classroom. And so that's what I want to do for right now. Yeah,
absolutely. And it's true, you do. I mean, you think about it, there's no other profession on the planet where, I think, just the other day, the same research comes out every year, but now, the research is, I saw that on average, our kids will spend 19 minutes of direct FaceTime with a parent. 19 minutes. That's both parents combined. Maybe a little 7 minutes with dad, 12 minutes with mom, or 19 with if they have one parent, and here they have you for hours. I mean, your kids are getting more dog FaceTime than they are. You know what I mean? That's amazing. That is just such a fantastic thing. And so you're going to keep moving forward at Atkinson Academy for Excellence. And now tell me about your new administrator, because I was a fan, and kind of did a little bit of research with Dr. Hensley, and now tell me about the new top dog.
Well, our new administrator is Stephanie Nutter, and she's new to being a principal. So this is her first principal job, but she's come right in and kept all the good things going that Dr. Hensley started. I think she knew what was valuable and what needed to be kept, and wasn't one of those people that just came in and said, we're going to do it all my way and forget all these things you've been doing. So she's kept in place the things that really worked when he was there, and then brought some of her own ideas and new things to the plate too. So things are still going smooth at Atkinson and headed in the right direction. Yeah.
And schools are still coming to watch and see what you guys are doing and trying to replicate it at their own campus.
Yes.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's when you have something real special. When you have something set up where it's just kind of this legacy effect where kids, they come to that school and they know it's expected from day one, because this is what happens here.
Right, right.
You know, you're not, you do the pledge and you live up to those words, and you respect each other. And, you know, I know you have your teachers on the video talking about how, you know, teachers belong and the kids belong, and we respect them and they respect us. And you have a new energetic administrator in there who buys in, and it brings great new ideas and keeps the ones you've had in the past. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, good. Hey, listen, thank you so much for being on the podcast. We just, you know, I think one of the coolest things about what I get to do, you know, as I travel around the country and now with this, is just meet amazing people doing their thing in the classroom, and to find somebody like you who's just so passionate and loves her kids so much, and knows that, you know, this thing is supposed to be fun. You know, we do, man. This teaching this thing is, we're supposed to have a good time. And it's just been a real treat to spend some time with you and hear about all that you have going on.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you for asking me to do this again. This is fun.
Good. Well, thank you again. Have an amazing school year. And hey, we're coming to Louisville. Listen, I'm going to send you an email if you want to come to the little Teaching a Rockstar professional development thing we do. You're more than I'd love for you to be my guest, and you can come on and spend the day with us, and you can kind of see what the whole thing's about.
That sounds great.
Good. Thank you again. Take care.
Thank you.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Hello, I'm Dewey Hensley, the principal of J.B. Atkinson Elementary Academy for Excellence in Teaching and Learning. J.B. Atkinson is a very unique school. It is an innovative, brain research-based school that is a learning community where teachers, some of the finest teachers in Kentucky, work together to create a learning climate where students excel. We are very proud that our magnet program is a partnership with the University of Louisville. What we are celebrating today is the University of Louisville signature partnership with J.B. Atkinson Elementary.
What we hope to do is to use the university's resources, that is our faculty, our staff, our students, and bring them here to the school, their expertise, and help them work with the school to offer their expertise in helping to make the school a better place for all of our students.
We're hopeful that for the youth, in terms of students here at Atkinson, they will see our students as mentors.
We truly focus on that term of community here. We make sure that everybody feels that they belong at Atkinson Elementary.
Atkinson Elementary means a whole lot to me because they have great academics, they have great things you do.
There's a lot of learning involved, and most importantly, the teachers find a way to make it fun.
When I come here, I feel safe because I basically just like everybody loves me and cares about me here, and I feel like I'm wanted and not just somebody walking in the school.
I am proud of me. I am proud of my teachers. I am proud of my school. Each day I pledge to.
We have a J.B. Atkinson pledge in which the students say, and we all say it together. Also, we talk about, and part of the pledge is to get ready for college. And every grade level, each kid, if you ask any kid what year do you go to college, they can tell you.
We expect all of our kids to know about college, know how to get to college.
We were the first school in Kentucky to adopt Literacy by Design, a research-based program that has pulled together some of the most innovative and research-based instructional practices so that our kids can achieve at rapid levels. We work really hard to open our doors and create avenues of communications with parents so that they feel they belong at Atkinson as well.
I just felt like it was just a caring environment from the teachers, the staff, the office, all the way up. I always found that they were very willing to help.
You have to have high expectations for kids because you have to show them that you believe in them and that they can do or be anything that they want to be.
It's really a school family, and the kids are a part of it and the adults are a part of it, and it's all focused around doing whatever it takes to make every child successful.
We want them to be academically strong, proficient or distinguished in every content area. But it goes beyond that. we attempt to help kids become good citizens that understand they can make a contribution to their community and to their society. We want them thinking about their own future.